Join us in this episode as we navigate Sweden's famous Göta Canal with a flotilla. We soak up the beautiful scenery, and make our way through 58 locks. On our way to the Baltic Sea. I'm Jasmine, and these are my parents, Guy and Joe. And this is our home, Free Spirit. Come join us on our adventures. It was the middle of May and we had just arrived in Sjötorp Marina in Lake Vättern in Sweden, ready to make the journey through the Göta Canal to the Baltic Sea. Known by some boaters as the divorce ditch, the Göta Canal, or Sweden's Blue Ribbon, is a historical waterway through Sweden, passing through lakes and over bridges. It includes 58 locks and reaches 91.8 metres above sea level. It is a marvel of engineering. The Göta Canal was built in the early 19th century before the advent of rail, as a trade route connecting the seas on Sweden's eastern and western coasts. It was the most extensive construction project in Swedish history, taking over 60,000 men and 8 million work days. We would be travelling in a cheaper pre-season convoy. We were split into small groups of boats that would travel through in succession, and were assigned a team of lock keepers who organised the timings and openings of the locks and bridges. The journey would take us 5 days. Being a heavy, long-keeled boat with limited manoeuvrability and no bow thrusters, we were elected to go first. The first lock was just at the entrance to the canal, and the lock keepers helped us by taking our lines. We had to winch the bow line in quickly as the water rose. Then it was on to the next lock. This time I had to jump ashore with the lines and help pull us in, a process we would repeat for most of the locks to come. The first day was probably the most grueling, as we navigated 19 locks, becoming more and more accustomed to the process with each one. We sometimes had to wait a little while for the road bridges to open, a difficult task for us in the strong winds. With each lock we rose higher and higher above sea level. In between the locks were long stretches of open canal where we could observe the scenery and wildlife as we motored by. Even for non-boaters, this is a popular tourist destination for both walkers and cyclists. Sometimes the winds blew us off a bit, and we had to quickly pull the boat into the wall. By the end of the day, we had risen around 48 metres to a height of 91.6 metres above sea level. Many quirky bird boxes have been put up along the canal. After a long day, we stopped off in Torreboda Marina for the night. The next day was lovely and sunny, bringing out the true beauty of the Swedish countryside. There are an estimated 16,000 trees along the banks of the Göta Canal. Their roots help to keep the banks sturdy. We had to be on the lookout for fallen trees and obstacles in the water. We approached Tortorp Lock, which controls the water level between the canal and Lake Viken. The lock is manually operated and only rises 0.2 meters, giving us a total elevation of 91.8 meters above sea level, the highest we would get on our journey. We set off into Lake Viken. At this time of year, the canal is quiet, but we've heard that the waterways get very busy during the main season. We wound our way between the little islands and islets on the lake. As we entered the second and final lock of the day, we had a large audience as we began the 3.5-meter descent. We moored up in Karlsborg for the night. After removing some wooden splinters from our lines the next day, we set off into Lake Vättern. The light winds enabled us to raise the sails for a bit. We headed to Motala Marina to wait for a little while we started the next leg of the journey. By the time we set off, the weather had changed. We were put into different groups for this leg of the journey. Eventually we came to a flight of 5 locks leading down like a stairway to Lake Boran. A friendly local who had helped take our lines joined us on board as we set off across the lake. We stopped off for the night in Borensberg Marina. The next day we set out again. Winding our way past trees and fields. It was a bizarre feeling sailing along an aqueduct over a road. The wind picked up to over 20 knots and we had to manoeuvre our boat carefully in the narrow waterways. We had a lot of locks to navigate today. Our flotilla was regularly the focus of attention for tourists. With Lake Roxern in sight, we still had a staircase of 7 locks. It was quite tiring work making sure all the lines were tight and trying not to hit the neighbouring boats in the blustery conditions. We set out across Lake Roxern. The waters were more open and exposed to the wind, whipping up some choppy conditions. It was like being on the sea again. We tied up and waited a little while for the next railway bridge to open. With a strong wind from the side and only short ropes to hold on to, we were blown across to the other wall. After going through 17 locks that day and now at 33.3 metres above sea level, we tied up for the night in Norsholm. In traditional Swedish style, we headed off for a nice hot sauna. We joined some new friends of ours from another boat we had been travelling with. The next morning we set off for what would be our last day on the Göta Canal. It was beautiful weather and we were glad to be teamed up with our friends again. We had 14 locks to go before we reached the Baltic Sea. We sometimes waited for the others to come through the locks before the lock keepers could open the next bridge or lock. I even spotted a pike trapped in one of the locks. After a while, we caught our first glimpse of the Baltic Sea. We were very excited as we pulled into the final lock at Mem, looking out onto the sea that would be our home for the coming months. The gates opened and we were out. We tied up to the side and said goodbye to our friends. My parents' relationship had held strong through the divorce ditch, and the journey had been an incredible and unforgettable experience for us all. After 58 locks and 190 kilometres, we had made it to the Baltic Sea. A big thank you to all the lock keepers and organisers for helping it all run smoothly. Please like and subscribe. A massive thank you to all my patrons for helping to support the production of these videos. It really makes a difference. If you'd like to help, as well as getting early ad-free videos, then click the link in the description and join my Patreon account. Thanks for watching. Join us next time as we begin to explore the beautiful waters of the Baltic. We sail across to Gotland and explore the wonderfully preserved medieval city of Visby.
Guessing! If the starboard marker is on our port side, on this, it looks like you keep the port markers on that side.
Feeling good. Stop it! No!